You didn't hit the gym this morning, then you saw.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Neal and Jay Stu, straight out of the gym. He got his workout in, I got mine. Brought to you by Bet Online and Believe. That's right, the gun. Ready for the gun show? We got it. We're here. We're here. Ready to rock
Yeah.
and roll. Jay, I said I was coming on the show. I said let's do a little show and just go around the league. But there's a team that I've been talking about, and Lindsay said your boy's been talking about them too, and that is the Carolina Panthers. At
Yep.
number 8 on the clock. Where do you go? Tell me about this team. What do you see? I see this team. This is a little. I think it's a sleeper. I think it's a sleeper here.
Yeah, we've been making a lot of noise in the free agency market, which is, what we call it, Dan is cooking, right? And there's a process to cooking. You got to make sure you get your vegetables, you got to prep, you got to make sure everything's cleaned up. And we've kind of gone through that phase, right? And I think right now we're starting to boil some water, right? Once you start boiling the water, you can start seeing some steam coming from the kitchen.
Sure.
And I think that's where we are right now with what we've been able to see with the free agency market, getting active, getting some guys in here, understanding the needs, 3-4 defense. Our defensive coordinator didn't really have a chance in the last 2 years to really get his footing with the guys that he had to work with.
Right.
As you know, 4-3 defense, 3-4 defense, totally different, personnel that's needed to get those things moving. We needed a pass rush.
Right.
We started to address some of those needs, and then obviously stopping the run last year. I mean, I thank God we worked out a deal with Rico Dowdle, because last year when the Dallas Cowboys came into town, it was like a constant
Attract me.
reminder
Yeah.
that we needed somebody to stop the run.
Well, take
But
us through that.
man,
We'll take us through that. When you're talking about, we're starting to you see the steam. Before there was steam, there was nothing, just cold water. And if this team was a word that I like to use, ferocious. I mean, you saw a quarterback that seemed, just a little bit not confident. And you said, man, this guy's got a chance. They may break him. He may be the next Carr. Is this guy going to be this guy's one and done or two and done because of the fact you saw the undue pressure on this young kid, and then you enter in the redhead pistol, and those couple weeks, seeing him just the maturity. What did you see from this team before we get into just the quarterback aspect of it? What was this team for the last several years just so close, not even close, just so far away, even when they had the likes of Christian McCaffrey, a guy who's a game changer type of running back. What was this process as they've been going to get to this point where now you're starting to see the steam start to come out of the pot?
identity, man. When we talk about cooking, what are we cooking? Right? We cooking soul food, we cooking Italian food. What are we doing? Right? And so
Right.
when you are on a team, Lorenzo, you've been on many teams where, I mean, I look back at probably your time maybe in New Orleans. You guys gone through some woes as far as like,
Oh,
who are we? Right?
right.
And that's kind of where the Carolina Panthers were. You can have talent on your team, but when you don't have guys that can buy into a culture, that can buy into the attitude, the mindset, and have it start from the top and being able to trickle down throughout the organization, whether it's the training staff, the cafeteria, the head coach, down to the assistant coaching staff, and being able to delegate and have hands off, right, to allow people to do their jobs. That's where we are starting to get aligned. Dan Morgan played the game. Dan Morgan was a dog. He didn't just play, he was a dog in this game. So he understands exactly what it's going to take, especially on defense, to win games. And he's going to get those guys in here that love football. I think what we've gone away from, I mean, you talk about a team that's transitioned through COVID. I mean, that we don't talk enough about that. I mean, that's the to be able to grow
Right.
through through COVID, and you're trying to figure out who you are as a team, and you have a new owner, you have a new
Sure.
coaching staff. There's a lot there that you get, put on the back. You kind of just lose time. I
Yeah.
call it that, and now we're starting to get our footing. Dan Morgan understanding what kind of guys he wants in the locker room, guys that
He's
love football.
And it seems like he's safe. We talk about Dan Moore. You keep mentioning Dan and what he's been able to do because I look at the team and I don't see superstars. I don't see greatness. But what I have seen is continuity. I've
Mm-hmm.
seen a building block, the foundation. When I look at the Carolina Panthers, I don't see a guy that jumps off the board pass rusher. When
Yeah.
you build in the trenches. You don't see a necessarily a role grader. You don't see guys on that defense that say, okay, these guys are game changers. Now,
Right.
you got some guys that play, but that's what I like, what you guys have done. It's no big names necessarily there. You have a named quarterback that got drafted high, but I'm talking about the salt. I'm talking about
Right.
the meat that you're talking about, the substance. You don't have necessarily great players, but you got guys there that can compete. What is this? Is this the foundation that coach said, hey, look, I don't want I want winners. I just want guys that are going to grind. And that's what I see outside looking in the Carolina Panthers. I see guys that want to compete.
Yeah, you got guys that love the game. I mean, I look at Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen is probably the best thing that could happen to that receiver room right now. Um, you're not out there chasing ghosts. You're out there. You're not overpaying guys to come in there and to be, the savior of the organization. What you're doing is you're building the car, right? You're putting the
Yeah,
tires on there, putting some
yeah.
gasoline in there. When there is a Hemi engine
Hmm.
available, and it makes sense for you to go get that Hemi engine, then you go do it. But don't go chasing ghosts. Build the
Right,
car.
right.
And I think we have guys like that in that locker room. Jadeveon Clowney last year, a pivotal piece for him being in that locker room, and for guys to look at what is it like to be a pro, what is it like to prepare, what is it like to play through injuries, and all those types of things are the things that the average fan doesn't really pay attention to. But you then I look at the needs, right? The free agency market. We needed edge rush. I still think that we can probably find someone in the draft to, fit that need. You got wide receiver. I'm not so in love with the receiving class to be chasing after a guy. The secondary, kind of the same in the same boat. I'd rather wait to mid rounds to secure that bag. But I think at the end of the day, you need depth. You need depth of guys that will be able to be able to develop, and the only guys that are going to develop the right way are guys that love the football, love
No, no
football.
question. No question. And when you talk about the developer, you're talking about develop, about how about the quarterback position? You're talking about a guy has developed, a guy that looked like they say, look, is this guy, is he done? And you just saw him seeing ghosts, throwing the ball to the other team. He just couldn't get it together. And you said, man, wow, is this young man broken? You've seen it happen. You and I, we've seen it, been on teams, saw quarterbacks that go from, think it's going to be, I played on teams with friggin' the Raiders when you DeMarcus Russell, and you saw different guys that come in. Achilles Smith played with Cincinnati. You're talking about playing some bad guys, and just you're like, okay, is this a 1-year wonder, 2-year wonder? What was the biggest thing in your opinion when you seen this team start to make that transition mid-season and compete in every game? What I've seen, this Carolina Panthers team, they can score with the best of them now.
Yeah. Bryce Young is one of those guys that I think we'll look back and say, hindsight, man, if we would have just had the right situation out the gate, we wouldn't be talking about any of this. But
And
woulda,
what
coulda,
was that?
shoulda.
What was that right
Offensive
situation?
line protection, and just one more outlet for someone to, for the defense to pay attention to, right? But I'm gonna say the offensive line, absolutely. When you get Damian, when you get Robert Hunt at the two guards, and then you help out the center, and then it makes everything else at the offensive line more suitable for a quarterback to be protected, right? I can now feel like I can deliver the ball and step up into the pocket. But more importantly, Lorenzo, the running game.
Yeah,
In my opinion, the best protection for a quarterback is to run the ball.
no question.
And when you commit to it, like the Carolina Panthers started to do with Chuba Hubbard, man, it was a whole different game plan. It was a whole different mindset. When they went to when they went to Germany and played the Giants, when they played the Giants, obviously the Giants were a bad team, but they went in there and handled business on a road trip. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of there's a lot of adversity that you have to go through when you're traveling and all those types of things, and you came out victorious against another team. But then
Right.
you come and play the Kansas City Chiefs, right? Offensive line protecting, running the ball when needed. But the confidence that I saw in Bryce Young that game was something that we've been waiting for since we saw him in college.
Right.
Obviously, you take a guy that hasn't really gone through a lot of low points in his life as far as his career. He's
Sure.
been a winner all his life.
Sure.
And so you have to learn to lose. You got to learn. And
How
he absolutely had to learn in the worst way possible on the biggest stage. And
how
so,
how was
yeah,
with Dalton? How did Dalton? As an interject, I'm sorry.
no, you
How
good.
did what did you think about Dalton? What did he bring? What did he bring to Bryce? In your opinion, how was he able to let the young fella understand? Hey, look, don't have necessarily the best line, but what facet of the game that you thought he
Oh
helped?
man. So Andy Dalton, take what's there, right? He's a pro. If the deep shot's not there, it's not there. Take the running back. He's in the flat. Throw it to him. There was a game, I can't remember who they played, but Andy Dalton just made the quickest decisions, and it was in the red zone. And out the gate, he just threw it to Chuba Hubbard for a score. Easy. Just go through your progressions, trust your reads, and trust your teammates. And I think that's one of the things that Bryce Young out the gate, not having an offensive line his rookie year to protect him, you lose that confidence. It's no different than a running back that has an offensive line that's over here letting people through the A gap, the B gap, the C gap, every gap of the world. And so you can't take on all the gaps. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
So
right, right.
if me and you in the backfield, we trying to find a gap, and people just coming in, we out there running with
Right.
our head with our hair on fire. So I think the confidence, man, of taking what's there, playing fast, and just and not being afraid to know what you see. Your pre-snap read, you know, sometimes once you get in a rhythm, you can trust your pre-snap reads. And I think we got to absolutely saw Bryce Young be able to go through his progressions because the pre-snap reads, his confidence and protection of knowing that, hey, I'm going to let this ball go and I'm going to keep my eyes down the field on the receiver and I'm not going to look at the contact. We saw that the end of the season. We saw that through and through. My man was out there taking blows, but still completing passes, and that's what the NFL is all about: playing quarterback.
Oh, no question. This episode brought to you by Bet Online, also with the Believe. Thanks for joining me and Jay Stu and your boy Neal talking about the Carolina Panthers. Jay, when you think about this team and where it could go, you think about the conference, the division that they're in, not necessarily the greatest. How do you see this team? Is it a pass rusher? Because you got to pick at number 8. You got
Yeah,
7 picks this year, 9 picks this year. But what is it? What is going to do to shape this team? Is it a couple players away from being in the playoffs? I see this team winning maybe 7 to 8 games, possibly 9. What
yeah.
say
I
you that's going to get them over the hump?
I think we are absolutely a 9-win team. Period. Point blank.
Wow.
Where we are now compared to what we were last year, just defensively, we're light years ahead. We addressed some needs. Um, we got the boy from the Rams. What's his name? I can't think of his name right now.
Offensive
Linebacker.
linebacker.
Linebacker. We got the linebacker.
Sure.
Shucks. um,
It
but we
happens.
got
But
we got Bobby Brown the third as one technique, and that boy big, right?
face it.
So you got him paired up with Derek Brown, who is currently on our roster. And you just continue to build off of that, man. Uh, I think we are, if we go early rounds, focus on the edge, pass rush, right? And
Game changer.
then, and yeah, somebody that can, get to the quarterback because as you know, protecting the quarterback and getting to their quarterback is the key, right? And then finding a receiver, someone that can, take the top off a little bit, someone that can threaten, the safeties, pull, spread that defense apart so we can hit those underneath routes. Jalen Coker, he was a rookie last year. I think he's going to have a exceptional season next year as well. Xavier Legette coming into his own. So just finding another addition to be able to spread that defense out down the field so that way we can hit the underneath routes, which I think is what Bryce Young's really good at, anticipating where those guys are going to be at. So edge receiver, I think we're not going to find like the most dominant player in this draft, but you got to at least try to find someone that you can develop. And that's the reason why I think the free agency was so key, because you get guys in there that love football, and that's how you get the younger guys to excel faster, right? The competition and practice and the meeting rooms and all those types of things.
Yeah, you just alluded to, you went out in free agency and got the depth that you need to get some leaders that's going to teach the younger guys how to win and how to practice like a champion. When you think about the running back position, like you said, have it back, but then Brooke, towards ACL or Achilles, didn't get hurt. But so what do you do? Is your running back, do you think it's solidified, or do you think you need some more depth? Do you have you have guys that run the ball, but is the running back position, in your opinion, solidified in Carolina? Is it in good hands, or do you think they need some more depth?
I think it's in good hands, especially with this draft. There's a lot of running backs in this draft, dog.
There is.
I mean, everybody's talking about Ashton Jeanty, Omarion Hampton,
gonna be there.
Quinshawn Junkins. They talking about Cam Scatterbo, right?
Scatterbo, baby.
Hey, that boy nice.
He nice. Arizona State.
Henderson. But there's a lot of guys that I think could be there that I don't know if anyone's talking about. Guys like DJ Giddens, Kansas State. To me, he reminds me of Todd Gurley. A guy obviously needs a little bit more work in the passing game, because I think these days you got to be effective in the passing game. When I was coming out of college, they weren't asking me to catch the ball 40 times a game or 40 times a season. But this day and age, you need a Swiss Army knife. But I think DJ Giddens, given an opportunity, a guy that might, if you love the game, fellas, if you love football, you will do everything in your ability to be the best and do what's asked of you. If they're asking you to catch the balls these days, you better get on the jugs machine, right? DJ Giddens, I like him. RJ Harvey from UCF. Obviously, top end speed, 4.4 guy. And you're not going to get a Swiss Army knife like Saquon Barkley. Don't look for a Saquon Barkley. Look for a guy that can be complimentary, right? That can be the change of pace. That can be a guy that can spell, when guys go down with injuries, especially as a rookie. Because then you might get an opportunity and you might see him surge. There's what's his name? Bashul Tootin from Virginia Tech. That guy ran a 4.3. So looking at guys with that top end speed that we might not have on the roster right now, the fast feet, right? The guys that can be a change of pace, I think would be complimentary.
You just look at, talking about just the fan base itself. What at the end of the year, where is the fan base? It's Carolina. I mean, back in the day, we've seen that place, when it got to the playoffs. Is the fans there? What do you think about just the fan base itself, or how are they feeling in the way that the season ended? Is there some rejuvenation? Is there some life? Is the fan base excited? Where's the fans in all this?
Man, the fans are excited, man. It's the first time in a while that, the Carolina Panthers end on a high note, right, in the football season. I remember being at the game, and I remember leaving, the media booth, and I can hear the chants of Chuba, Chuba, Chuba. Because Chuba Hubbard went off.
Yeah.
Okay. He went off that game. And so when you have fan base being able to create something on their own, to own something, right? Like when I played, Cam Newton made football fun, giving the ball to the fans.
Right.
after the game, go around, the stadium and slapping hands with fans. Like people take ownership in that. Like, hey, man, we came in here, we rocked it, we were loud, and we won the game, right? So we're gonna go home chanting. We're gonna go home celebrating. Like we're gonna go to the local bar. We're gonna go to the local restaurant, and that's when football.
Right.
That's when you see the impact of what football does. It's
Sure.
huge for cities, man.
Sure.
Like it makes the local business owners thrive because people are out in those streets. So, I mean, Carolina Panthers are sitting really nice, and there's a lot of familiarity that's happening right now.
Well, JC, I know you're the home team, so I'm gonna let you go ahead and take us out here. But give me the rank. Give me 1 through 4. How this if Carolina, if something happens, Carolina could be 1, 2, 3, or 4. If you had to go through division, give me worst, give me top to best right now. If you had to start to judge it right now today in your division.
If I had to judge it right now, I would have to say Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yep.
Just because of kind of what
They've
they've been
there.
last 2 years or so, 3 years. And then right now it's a boxing match between us and the Atlanta Falcons, and I love it. I love the boxing match. This is something that this is about football. This is what people tune in for, right? You don't want the automatic win. You want to see guys scrap for it. And so that's when you're going to start to see the rivalries start to feel like the edge, like, oh, we got a chance in this. Let's go down there and smack them in the face. Right. So and they're right down the street, literally. So I think Penix and Bryce Young, man, that's gonna be something, that's gonna be a treat that I think we didn't really anticipate, especially last year. Falcons had Kirk Cousins and they drafted Penix, and we were all like, what are you doing? Well, we all looking like dummies now.
Yeah.
And then obviously, you got the Aints down there at 4. Dealing with the struggles.
I'm with you. I really believe that you guys are right there, and you just never know. I mean, you and Atlanta Falcons, because Penix, he is definitely. I think could be a star as well. So you have 2 up and coming quarterbacks. It's going to be interesting just how that battle goes. But I have it the same. I have Tampa Bay because you got to knock them out to show that you can beat the champ. They, they just rebuild. They got great coaching. They have their quarterbacks is okay. He's shown this was a guy that was going to be an outcast in the league. Here's a quarterback, Baker Mayfield, that people said he was done. He's a backup. He's a 2 or 3. And look at him resurgent to what he's done. So I'm with you. You have to give Tampa Bay and then flip a coin, because I don't think that there's any true clear the second in that conference. So we'll see where it goes, man. We got to do this again, brother.
Yeah, man, this was great.
No question. No question.
Yo, I got a question for you.
Talk to me.
Who do you give your allegiance to? Like,
you know what?
Because you played for the Saints, the Cincinnati Bengals, for Tennessee,
Baltimore,
and San Diego. Yeah, like, and you know what? And you blocked for some dogs, Corey Dillon.
Dog. Hey, Dillon. What? People don't understand. Dillon was a monster. You hear me? Yeah. Dillon was a bad. If Dillon had Eddie George or LT's work ethic,
yeah,
he'd be first ballot Hall. I mean, bro. He would just like. I'm like, Dillon, CD. I'm picking you up on Tuesday. We're gonna go and watch some film. I'm gonna show you how to be a pro. I mean, it was like, CD, come on, man. Let's go do. I mean, he just was in Cincinnati. This dude was just naturally just a dog. I've seen him run so hard, bro, knock out the safety before he hit the ground. Safety comes up, try to hit him. Corey ran him over. He was knocked out before the dude hit the ground. I was like, wow, this dude is a monster. But I boxed some dogs. Tennessee was tough, man, because we went to a Super Bowl, part of one of the biggest plays ever in the history of the game. The Music City Miracle was part of that play. So it's tough, but it would be San Diego and Tennessee. Went to the Super Bowl with Tennessee, so it's tough. But San Diego, man, that team playing with LaDainian and Drew Brees and Phillip Rivers, and that was the best team. If just as far as talent, best team I've ever been on. That thought you would win 2, 3 Super Bowls. We underachieved, like you said. Yeah. Sometimes if you can have all the leadership, but sometimes your britches get too big and you expect and you think you're going to do it, and if you don't go out and perform, it can catch you. And that's exactly what happened with us several years, and never got that Super Bowl ring, bro. Never got.
Yeah, that same sentiment. We got to the Super Bowl,
Yep.
but you still got to show. You can't just show up to that mug.
I know.
You gotta go out there with a bat in hand, a knife, whatever your weapon of choice is, and you got to go out there and fight.
And y'all had Peyton. That's when Peyton was on his last leg, right?
Peyton was over there with a crutch. Peyton was over there with a crutch, with a neck brace.
His defense the defense, Denver defense one that y'all. I was pulling for y'all, dog. I was pulling for y'all, bro.
Yeah, appreciate you, man.
Yeah. But we'll do it again, man. I can't wait through the season to get on. We'll see where Carolina is and see kind of what happens and see if our predictions hold straight. I got them at 8. You said 9 for sure. I got 9. You're gonna take over 9.
I'm gonna take 9.
All right. That's dinner. All right, brother.
All right, yeah, all right. Dinner for sure. I'll take that dinner.
Okay.
We'll do dinner. Where you at in California?
Yeah, Cali. So I'm gonna see you this year at the Super Bowl. We'll get back out there. We'll be out there because it's in San Fran. It's in my city this time.
All right, man.
All right, brother. Cheers.
Yep.